Hello, Blokees and Transformers fans. This is Speed Bahar, and today for you guys, I have for you a very special review, my friends, of the Blokees Transformers Ally Luster's Surge exclusive collection. And I can say, my friends, this is a very challenging collection to get because, unfortunately, it is an Asian market exclusive only and only at certain locations. And reason for that is because this is part of the Blokees Lucky Draw series. Now, many fans probably may not have know what that term means in this case, only because the fact Blokees doesn't mention these ones too often and only have done two now, including this one. And the reason is that these sets are not like your standard Galaxy collections at all, even though, yes, there's Galaxy units in this collection, literally, but it is not the same as those ones in that sense. What it is that when they have these events, my friends, what it is you have to go to those certain locations in question, and as mentioned here on the box, you have to buy a Galaxy or a Transformers equivalent item in this case, or item related to the lucky draw itself. And what it is when you purchase it, you are automatically allowed to enter an opportunity to pull a blind unit from this set, of course, at that location. So normally, my friends, you're not technically allowed to buy the whole set like I have here. Though, of course, there are always means to do so afterwards, after such events. But the point is, normally you're just supposed to just pull and just see what you get. And in this case, there's a number of variety of prizes, as you can see here on this chart. And it goes simply by, lowest to highest in the rarity in that sense. For example, down here at the bottom is just pretty much effect pieces and such. Second level is about weapons, which are compatible with all Galaxy units pretty much. Up here you have mini collectible units, aka like mini bots in this case. And finally, the top prizes in this case are the actual Galaxy characters in question, including the rare of this set. Yes, this set has a rare, which is the grand prize of the alloy finish Optimus Prime. And trust me, he is not easy to come by for a number of reasons. But yes, that is pretty much how this collection works in the sense of how the lucky draw game works, so to speak. Now, of course, luckily, after such events usually come and go, there are, of course, means to get such sets online now. But I must mention this, especially with these ones, is that unfortunately, though, because of how limited these sets are and exclusive, chances are you're not going to find them under normal means like you would in any other blocky sets. I say that from experience and so forth because, for example, the Ultraman set I mentioned already, well, hasn't been anywhere at all since it was released, and no one has seen it anywhere, including sites like AliExpress, which, for those who don't know this, is a big source of Blokees collectibles. I literally know this for a fact. And sadly, not even this set has popped up there. So, unfortunately, my friends, chances are it may not pop up there at all. Hopefully, I'm wrong, of course, but I wouldn't bet on it right now. Now you're probably going to ask then, how the hell did I get one, right? Well, luckily though, there are good people out there, and what I mean is that the Blockies community, there's always tons of collectors and fans who, of course, will help out one another, and that's exactly what happened here. A friend in the community got a hold of me because they found out I was, of course, trying to get my hands on one, and trust me, I looked everywhere, and surprisingly enough, offered me an extra one they happened to obtain. And of course, I took them up on that offer because, like I said, there's no almost like very, very limited chance this is going to pop up other sites. Trust me. And of course, yes, I of course took him up on his offer, and we made a fair deal to, of course, purchase this from him. Which, note, he went through a lot to get his. So, real quick before I forget, I'd like to say thank you to that friend, of course, for helping me out and doing me a big solid on this because I really wanted this collection in my big collection, especially because the fact, if you haven't noticed already, I got really lucky and pulled the alloy finish Optimus Prime, as you guys can see here, which I added the Energon-X because that was one of the prizes. But yes, I pulled the big prize unit in this collection, and I am so happy. It's so shiny, but it's awesome because it takes the updated Optimus Prime mold and gives us a really cool redesign for him. In the sense, it's awesome. And honestly, I'm not sure if I'm correct on this for this one, but I have a feeling this Optimus version is based off of the original G1 episode of when Optimus, specifically the rebirth of Optimus Prime, when Optimus faced Rodimus Prime utilizing an alloy finish, so to speak. coating to protect himself from the well-known hate virus from that episode. I think that's what this one is based on. I could be wrong, but it's the only reason I could think it that would why they would call it the alloy finish. I really think that's the case here. I could be wrong once again, but you never know. Now, are any of these units, anything from this collection, different from anything else? No. As I just mentioned with Optimus here, everything else in this collection is pretty much just recolors and such of previous releases from Galaxy volumes and such. And that includes all the units we have here with some updates too. For example, our buddy here, Holler, is now updated with the brand new joints for the arms and legs for their older design. Because remember, this original version, which was Grapple, came out in the early volumes of the series of the Galaxy line, and definitely could have used updated joints because the early joints were not bad, but they had their problems compared to the newer joints that we have now. And it is really nice too to finally have other uses for the older molds, and especially to see some obscure characters with them. I mean, we're talking about Holler, my friends. He is a very obscure character in the sense that he's rarely mentioned or gets very few releases. So it is, and that's the one thing with Blockies I will always love, is that they will never forget obscure characters as well as famous characters. And that includes others such as this Seeker in the back, Bitstream. And I'm not going to lie to you, friends, I honestly forgot who this character was at first, too. But it is really nice to have another Seeker in my collection. And if you're wondering, yes, this version specifically utilizes the Starscream mold. So yes, it is nice to see the older Starscream release still being used even now with the updated joints. And honestly, the color scheme on this one is really nice. I do love the dark blue. It's really cool. But not just him, of course. One I'm very glad to see in this case is was surprising enough my first pull in this set, the G1 Optimus mold, aka the Missing Link style Nemesis Prime. Yes, we have another Nemesis in the collection, which is really odd in a sense, because what I mean is that it's surprising because we don't get a lot of Nemesis in the Blockhees line. Literally, we only have the original Galaxy. We have we don't even have a Defenders one. We have a Wheels one. We have a Champion Class one slash Classic, and I'm pretty sure that's about it right now. So yeah, so it's awesome to see the Missing Link style mold get used for a Nemesis release. It's really nice. Maybe we'll get an Ultra Magnus one later, or maybe Shattered Glass or one of the others. Who knows? But it is nice to have in the collection. And as for all the accessory pieces you see here, my friends, yes, just like I mentioned, they're all just remakes of previous ones, like the Insecticons. These are all in clear plastic to their original solid plastics. So you got Shrapnel, Kickback, and Bombshell, all the Insecticon trio again. Or as I like to call these little ones, the Insecticon clones, because that's what these feel like to me, like how they would always summon their little clone army. That's what these remind me of. So that's pretty cool. We also have other pieces such as this one, which definitely surprised me, which is the TF1, let's see, Cybertronian Fawn from the movie, which is really nice to see this version in this sense because the original version of this was in silver from the other Blockies volume. This one I like a little more because it actually in the more movie accurate color, because that version was in a more goldish color from what I remember. So it is nice to see this in a more accurate version. I definitely like. We also have a ton of weapons, as I mentioned before, such as this giant clear goldish, literally it's like a goldish clear plastic bazooka piece, which was one of Cliffjumper's weapons from, I'm pretty sure from his Shining Volume release. Then, as I mentioned already with Nemesis, here are the Galaxy Nemesis weapons. These are epic. I love these things. I mean, it's odd they're only been included with the Nemesis release, but it is now nice to have an extra set in this goldish clear plastic. But it is so cool to see these arm cannons again. It is so nice. And speaking of other arm-related weapons, we also have Megatron's mace weapons, which are really cool and interesting because these are in blue instead of the pink that we got before. But it's nice because there's two of them, so now you can give dual wielding maces, which is awesome and fun as hell. And we also have, as you might have noticed on Optimus, his Energon axe, which is in a nice blue. I have to say, this looks really nice. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the original orange and such, but this metallic clear blue looks really nice. It fits Optimus perfectly in that sense, and that's exactly why As you guys can see, I gave Optimus the extra one because this fits like this would be his weapon in this form. I bet it would be. And speaking of epically large weapons, we also have Ultra Magnus's axe. And just like all the other weapons, these of course can attach to any of the Galaxy units that can of course hold these kind of weapons, of course. And it's really cool to see this axe like this. It really is. Now the original version did have a lot more detail on the blade, but I'm okay with this one because this would be more like an Energon version in that sense. And speaking of Energon, why not? We also got a collection of Energon cubes, blue ones. This is really nice. I definitely love these little things because we were getting these in the early volumes of the collections for Galaxy, but it's sort of sad Blokees hasn't been doing much else with these since then because these are really fun to collect, of course, because I literally have a box full of these little things. But it's so cool to see blue versions now. I sort of hope we'll get a couple other versions later. And other effects we got as well are these classic beam effects, which are for blasting and such. For example, let's take Holler here, because you can attach this actually to his little funnel piece here and give him an attack matching his color. So it's almost like, in this case for him, it'd be almost like an acid attack, I think. I think that would really fit this. But yeah, classic energy effects what we've gotten before. And one other piece we got in this sense was an interesting one because it's one of the only ones that isn't in clear plastic, which is the Optimus slash Sideswipe backpack, or sorry, booster pack. So yeah, now no, it doesn't come with the effect pieces. The original version does come with. However, you can just use these effect pieces because these are pretty much the same ones, just in different colors. So all you do is would plug them in here like that. Oops, sorry. And then just attach this onto the back of any Autobot, Decepticon, etc. that can, of course, set up with the ports on like this. And there you go. He's got a booster pack. Lastly, of the standard parts and such you get with this little collection is these little clear energy colored base pieces. Now, if you're wondering which one of these are from, or like where are these from, you're wondering, these are from the Shining series bases. Now, of course, these are not the standard colors we normally see them in, but no, these are the same bases. I double checked. But these energy effect pieces you get here are really cool. I mean, we've seen these before with like some of the champion class units and such. So it's really nice to see these bases are still being used because the last Shining volume we didn't technically get any. So it is nice to see these. It's really nice. And of course, as you can see, it comes in blue or green if you can pull them. And other than that, let's see, what else? A very interesting prize, which I definitely been wanting to get my hands on in this case. It is the Blokees Extension Pack 001. Pretty much for those who don't know what this is the exclusive Blokees joint parts set that they released a while back, which are normally exclusives as well, or very limited to challenging to get. I say this because sadly, a number, I've been wanting these and a number of other items they've done, but they're very challenging to come by. Luckily, I believe nowadays they're a little easier to come by, but I've still been wanting to get these. And what it is that you take the joints, these ball joint pieces, and what you can do is you can extend arms and other such joints for customs and other fun gimmicks with these little joints that might have limitations and so forth, or you just want to extend for fun. And that's pretty much what these are. Now, normally this would come with a little box piece you can put them in, but this version didn't come with the box. So it's fine though. I mean, the parts themselves are going to be very useful for me, that's for sure. I can't wait to use them and such. Other than that, my friends, lastly in the collection you get are the draw agains, which is just a fun little, game piece. You pull this, then you can just draw another piece by chance, and so forth. You never know. Maybe if you get this and you pull an Optimus or a Nemesis or whatever. But that's these are just fun little gimmicks for the game. Other than that, that is pretty much it, my friends. Ah, these are very interesting for fans. Like I mentioned before, I do wish these were easier to come by, sadly, because these are quite fun to have because all the extra pieces for your other collections and just the units in here are really nice to finally have in the collection. And of course, this Optimus unit, it is so awesome looking. I do love it. It's going to look so nice with my other ones. It's just a big bummer because unfortunately, my friends, for those who don't know this, um, this set, unfortunately, as I already mentioned about being how hard it is, one of the reasons it's hard to get is because unfortunately the set has also been, well, scalped like crazy. I say this because a number of people who have come across it have seen the prices go from 100 to close to 400 for this, and for a number of reasons. So, in other words, the standard price for this set alone right now, currently, unless of course that changes, has been going for about 150 at least. That's what I've been seeing. As for like, if you're lucky now, if you're wondering about like, what about Optimus here? Because as many fans will know, is a lot of times you can buy individual units, and if you're wondering how much Optimus here would be worth, well, currently this could always change. Current value of our Optimus here is about 300, and no, I'm not kidding. A number of people have found out about that, and I've seen it myself online. Mentions of this. So unfortunately, our Optimus here, though it looks epic, is also quite expensive. Hopefully, maybe that will change in time. Maybe Blokees will release this set again in other ways so other fans can get, because it's interesting when you look at the box here because everything is printed in English. Hopefully that means this set will be maybe another exclusive, but maybe, like in the US or other regions where fans can actually get a chance to get to it, because that's always the one thing with Blocksy's exclusives that's always a bummer, is that, well, they're limited to where they release them, and sometimes you can't even get to them. So hopefully, maybe down the road they'll fix that, change that up a bit, make it easier. Who knows? So, what are my final thoughts on the collection itself, my friends? I definitely like it. It was fun. I was honored to be able to get a chance to even look at this set because of my, like I mentioned before, about my good friend who was able to get this to me. And it's, of course, I love it because Blockheads has been one of my biggest Transformers collections I've had in a long time. So I'm very happy to have this in my collection, including the Optimus here, especially. I just love it because it's been a fun series to collect, and I'm very happy to add to them. So yes, best I can tell you, my friends, is sadly I can't really recommend anything in this case because, as I mentioned, being how hard it is to come by, unless that changes, unfortunately, it's going to be a challenge. Now, my best recommendations, if you can find those in the community like I did, who happen to, of course, acquired a set or something that they're willing to, trade with you, pay, make a deal with you about for a fair price, then yeah, I say check it out. You'll probably have fun because all the extra pieces here are fun for your other collections you have, and other characters like Holler, Nemesis, Bitstream are also awesome to have for your collection for many G1 classic fans and so forth, or those who like the G1 classic toy designs. Or if you just like shiny Optimuses, there's plenty to enjoy here. Hopefully, like I said, maybe down the road we'll see more availability. Hopefully. So real quick though, my friends, let's do some comparisons with their fellow Wavemates and Galaxy comparisons, such as our updated Optimus Prime from our Volume 8 release, to go with his alloy version, so you guys can see the differences. And besides, obviously, the shiny factor, detail-wise, are about the same. It's just I do like the gun piece though on our alloy here. He looks really nice. And like I said, the Energon axe really fits well with this version. I do think that, I really do. But it is nice to see them both together like that. Let's take a look at a G1 classic like Holler, so you guys can see what the original version looked like from Grapple. Yeah, you can see there is a difference with weapons because he does come with this nozzle piece, because I don't believe Grapple came with one. He does come with this piece, however, from what I remember, and such. But it is nice to have these two, of course, together, especially being that, Collar here looks more like a Constructicon than an Autobot. But yeah, it's really cool to have him because of that fun fact, and the fact that, of course, he was in the original first episode, too. So if you didn't know that. Another fun part is the Seeker collection I've been growing. Dear God, I have a much bigger one than I ever expected. But it is nice to have another Seeker to join the collection. And very interesting that they use Starscream for Bitstream here. It's almost like they're saying he's as treacherous as his original counterpart. Maybe he is, who knows? And as I mentioned, of course, the Missing Links Nemesis with our Missing Links Optimus is going to look really nice together. Though the only interesting part is that Nemesis here didn't come with the LED that the Shining version does have. So, I mean, it's not a big deal. It's just interesting. But as you can see, it's awesome to have these two together and, of course, fight each other. And just for the fun of it, if you're curious, as I mentioned earlier with the Cybertronian Fall, this was the Galaxy version we got. And, of course, this is the Surge version. So you guys can see the difference color-wise. And just a real quick, so you guys can see the difference between the clear version and non of our buddy Bombshell here. The only difference with our Surge version, he doesn't come with the Decepticon logo. Oddly, yeah, it's just complete clear. Yeah. So yes, that is it, my friends. I thank you always for coming. I do hope you're all enjoying your Blokees collections as I am, and hopefully in time, as I mentioned earlier, Blokees will consider releasing this kind of set to more availability for many fans to enjoy, because I think it's a fun set to collect, and hopefully will be more easier to collect down the road, hopefully, and such. So yes, that is it for today, my friends. I thank you always for coming. See you all later.